today on The Explainer, we're digging into a really cool and, honestly, super practical way to think about ocean conservation. It's all based on an amazing guide from Chris Toklas of Merman Conservation Expeditions. And the whole idea is about flipping the script, thinking small to save something, well, enormous. So let's just start with this question because it's a huge one, right? How do you protect an entire ocean? I mean, it's a question that can feel completely overwhelming. The task is just staggering. It's a blue planet, and the problem feels, well, it feels ocean-sized. And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a total mismatch. On one side, you've got billions of acres, endless ecosystems, this massive global challenge. And on the other side, well, there's us. Just people, small communities. We've got the will to help, for sure, but our resources are limited. So you have to wonder, what chance does the small really have against the vast? But here's where things get really interesting. This is the pivot. What if we've been looking at it all wrong? Instead of trying to match the problem's massive scale with massive solutions, what if the answer is actually to zoom way, way in? To be more like a surgeon with precision instead of a sledgehammer. And that brings us to this key idea. You've probably heard of large-scale marine protected areas, or MPAs. Think of them like the giant national parks of the sea. But what we're talking about today is different. It's the mini MPA, or MPMA. And the analogy here is just perfect. It's not a huge park. It's more like a sacred grove. Something small, something precious that you guard with focused, intimate care. So what does that really mean? Well, an MPMA at its heart isn't about trying to protect everything. It's all about pinpoint accuracy. It's about protecting the right thing in the right place. You know, that one crucial nest, that one hidden cave, that one little patch of reef that holds the whole neighborhood together. And when we say mini, we are not kidding. We're usually talking about an area that's less than 1 square kilometer. I know, it sounds tiny, right? But stick with me, because their impact is anything but small. And this is the magic of it. Because they're so small and targeted, conservation suddenly becomes way more accessible. They're affordable, there's way less red tape, and this is the best part, they're community-friendly. The people who are actually there every single day, the fishers, the divers, the guides, they can take ownership. They become the guardians. Okay, so that's the big idea. But what are we actually protecting here? What do these little sanctuaries look like in the real world? Let's dive in and check out some concrete examples of these vital little spots. All right, first up, let's talk about nests. Think about it. For a species like a sea turtle or a ground-nesting seabird, one little patch of sand, that's everything. It's where the next generation gets its start. And it is so, so vulnerable. So how do you protect them? Well, this is the beautiful part. It's often incredibly simple. We're not talking about building giant walls here. For a turtle nest, it can be as simple as putting up a little rope fence and a sign. Or for birds, maybe just changing the lights on the beach so they don't get disoriented. These are simple, low-cost actions with a massive payoff. Next, let's go into the shadows a bit. Marine caves. For a really shy, endangered animal like the Mediterranean monk seal, a quiet, dark cave isn't just a home, it's a lifeline. It's a critical refuge where they can rest and raise their pups, safe from human disturbance. And again, the protection methods are super direct and focused. If we know seals use a particular cave, the answer might just be to make it a clear no-entry zone. Simple. For other spots, maybe it's just asking divers to steer clear. That's it. It's all about giving these animals the one thing they need most: a little peace and quiet. Okay, and for our last example, let's talk about a habitat we've probably all seen, but maybe didn't fully appreciate: the shallow reefs and tide pools. They might not seem as dramatic as the deep blue sea, but don't let that fool you. These places are the ocean's nurseries. This is where all the baby fish, the little octopuses, this is where they grow up safe. And protecting them, a lot of the time, it just comes down to changing our own behavior. Simple things, like a no-anchor policy so boats don't rip up delicate seagrass, Or for tide pools, it's all about education, that powerful look, don't touch idea. These simple rules can preserve these vital nurseries for generations. So this all sounds fantastic, right? But you're probably wondering, okay, how does a community actually make this happen? Well, this next part breaks it right down. It's a real-world guide to action. And look, it's not rocket science. It's a really logical step-by-step process. First, you just observe. You survey what's there and you document it. Then, you talk. You get everyone who has a stake in the area together. And from there, you make it real. You define the space, you mark it clearly, and then you commit to watching over it and spreading the word. It's a blueprint for local empowerment. All right, so let's pull the camera back out again and look at the big picture. Because the true power here isn't just in one of these mini sanctuaries. It's about what happens when they start to work together to create a healthier ocean overall. I absolutely love this concept from the guide: biological stepping stones. See, an MPMA isn't just an isolated island of protection. When you have a whole network of them, they create a kind of safe highway for wildlife, a corridor that lets animals move, breed, and thrive across a much bigger area. They literally fill in the gaps between those huge national park reserves. Ultimately, this whole approach boils down to this one powerful, memorable idea: protect the small, protect the future. And that's what makes it so brilliant. It takes this overwhelming problem and makes it feel achievable. It reframes conservation not as some massive burden, but as a direct, tangible investment in the future. And so we'll end by turning the question back to you. Now that you've seen how this works, what small, hidden sanctuary is there in your world? You know, a local shoreline, a creek, maybe even just a patch of woods. What small space near you is worth protecting? What future can you help secure just by starting small?